BxxKmas. So I'm going to make a video talking about Goodreads and talking about my Goodreads goal and some thoughts on Goodreads. But I also have to do some laundry and I have to make the guest bed. This is the guest room where I film a lot of times. So first things first, I reached my Goodreads goal this year on the 1st of December, so ahead of schedule, which is nice. My relationship with Goodreads is very, very new. I've only recently started Goodreads, heard of it before, and I just had never thought it was anything I'd be interested in, another social media platform, another website, another thing to fill out. So I had never started one, but once I started watching BookTube, I thought that Goodreads would be a really good way to keep track of all the books that I had, and I had this idea that it would be really cool to write down every book you've ever read and every book you could ever remember reading. Now obviously I'm writing down every book I've ever read starting in the middle of my life. I spent a couple of days just trying to think of every single book I could think of that I had ever read and adding it to Goodreads. I came up with a lot. Like the other day I just thought of 3 more that I hadn't put on there. They weren't very good books, so I'm not super stoked to put them on there, but I will. My Goodreads has everything I've ever read that I can remember that I wrote down in August. I looked at old book lists, I looked at old reviews. I only have I think 4 shelves. I have my currently reading, I have my read, which is all the books I've ever read that I can remember. I have my 2020 reads, which are all the books I've read in 2020. And I have a DNF for now, which actually only has 1 book in it right now, but I think I'll probably add a couple more in there. I liked the idea of keeping it very minimum. So my read books, and I also have a want to read shelf, which kind of doesn't count, but I like the idea of keeping my shelves pretty minimal and just every year updating a yearly shelf so I can go back and look and see what I read those years. But those books would also be included in my read shelf. So I would get to see a total number of books that I've read through my life and split up by year starting in 2020, which is a good year to start doing that because it's the year I started BookTube. My reading journey in 2020 really started with lockdown. I was already hoping and planning to read more books in 2020, and then when lockdown happened, I started really getting into reading. Once I started my Goodreads in August, I really liked updating it, and I really liked putting in all the information of all the books that I've read. But what I don't really like to do is write reviews. I write reviews on my blog, madcatquilts.com, and you'll always find all my books that I've read since I started that blog on there. I don't really see the point of also writing reviews on my Goodreads. The other thing I don't really understand about Goodreads is I don't understand how it's like a social media thing. It tells you don't friend people unless you're really friends with them, and I'm not really friends with anyone. I think 2 people have friended me, but none of my friends are actually on Goodreads. So I follow a lot of people and I do like to see the update of what they're reading, but as far as a social media, I'm just not interested in doing the work that would be required to make friends on that social media platform. I would rather put my time and energy into BookTube. I would rather put my time and energy into my blog. I don't promote it like someone who does this for their job, so I don't always get a lot of engagement. That's the word I was looking for. So I don't always get a lot of engagement. I like Goodreads as an organizational tool that I use on the internet. I like to be able to see, and I think I would like to be able to look back and see all the reading that I've done over the years, starting in August of 2020. I think that's going to be really cool. Getting back to my Goodreads goal for 2020, I set my goal in August when I started my Goodreads, and my goal was 50 books, to read 50 books for 2020. Now, I had already read probably 25 books or something. Because I had that reading surge, 50 wasn't an impossible goal, and I felt really good about it. And I reached it on December 1st. My 50th book that I read this year was The Tale of Beatrix Potter, which is a Beatrix Potter biography that you can see in my nonfiction November wrap-up. Obviously, when you set goals, it feels good to accomplish them, and it felt really nice to accomplish my Goodreads goal. I started thinking about what my Goodreads goal for 2021 will be. So I could set it at 52, and that would be like very reasonable, but I think I want to use it to push myself a little bit, and I'm going to set my Goodreads goal for 2021 at 65 books. To me, that seems, with the amount of books that I've been reading in 2020, like a very reasonable goal. I'm interested to see if every year I up that goal or if every year I pretty much keep that goal the same. Those are my thoughts on Goodreads. I don't really love it as a social media platform. I do like it as a place to organize my books that I've read and set some goals for the year. Do you like Goodreads? Do you use it as a social media platform? Do you use it for your own personal organization? Do you use it for goals? Do you set a goal, a higher goal every year? Or do you keep the same goal and see where you're at as far as completing it? If you want to follow me on Goodreads, it's just my name, I think, but it's always linked in the description box below. My blog is there where you can read my book reviews, and my Instagram is there as well, so you can check that out. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!